All right, we are back. Titans talk on a victorious Wednesday. Not sure it has the same ring, Victory Wednesday, as does Victory Monday, but it counts the same. And the Titans are 4-0 after beating up on the Bills 42-16 last night at Nissan Stadium. Now they get set for the Texans coming to town. That rivalry game in the AFC South. Kickoff at noon Sunday from Nissan Stadium. About 10,000 will be there. If you can't get in yourself, check it out on NewsChannel 5 Sunday afternoon. Our phone lines are open, 737-7767, the number. We want to hear from you tonight about the game, what you think about the game, and where the Titans stand right now, any concerns you have, especially given everything they've come through, any things that have really stood out to you at this point, any questions you have, fire it away. We are open to you tonight on the program, and we will begin with William. William, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm sitting here watching the show. You're pretty spot on with your commentary about how the Titans played last night.
Well, thank you.
I think it's awesome, as a Titans fan, to watch us go into playing the Texans this weekend. We should all have our heads high, and we should be confident. Sometimes when we play the Texans, it's a divisional game. You don't know what to expect. Sometimes they give us trouble. I don't feel that way. I think we're going to go into this game very confident as a team, and we're going to control the clock like we did yesterday. And we're going to get another win. I'm excited.
Yeah, you've got good reason to be, because that performance last night was as impressive of a game that the Titans have played as a team, given the circumstances, as I can remember. And I don't think many people probably can remember anything more impressive than that in their 20-plus year history here in Tennessee. You're right about the AFC South divisional games. They're always just different because the teams know each other so well. That'll certainly be the case. Mike Vrabel played for and coached with Romeo Crennel, so these guys know each other. They understand the personnel and what's going to happen. I don't expect it to be easy, especially with the short week for the Titans, and they will probably still have a few guys who will be out on Sunday. So they're going to have to fight through that again. But when you watched what they did last night, why would you ever count this team out? And to your point, they are going to be incredibly confident as they walk in there. That type of win last night, I think, can be a galvanizing force for this team moving forward in the season.
I 100% agree. Thanks for taking my call, man.
All right, William, we appreciate you calling. We appreciate you watching here tonight. We'll go to line 2 now and say hello to John. John, what's up?
How you doing? You know what? I got 2 questions, man, to ask.
Yep.
Only thing Titan got is 2 problems. Quit outside penalty and get a pass rusher. That's all he need. And they'll go all the way live. That's my comment.
All right. I appreciate that, John. So I will agree with one in particular, and that's the pass rush. The Titans have to figure out a way to get a pass rush. They tried to blitz from all over the place last night to get a shot at Josh Allen. And look, he's good. He's really shifty in the pocket. He can get the ball away because the arm is so strong from a lot of different angles. He's a hard guy to sack. And maybe some of the pressure did affect him on some of those throws where the Titans had a shot and ultimately got some of those turnovers. I mean, he was clearly confused on Malcolm Butler's second interception there in the third quarter when he ran it 68 yards all the way back to the 12. So maybe they did get a little impact there, but there really wasn't much in terms of getting the quarterback to the ground. In fact, Harold Landry's sack in, I believe, the second quarter was the first sack by an edge rusher for the Titans this year. Think about that. It was 14 quarters into the season, and they finally got their first sack from an edge rusher. Jadeveon Clowney hasn't gotten there. They didn't get anything from Vic Beasley up to this point. Harold Landry finally got home. Every other sack that had happened had come from a blitz of, I think they were all secondary members. Maybe there was one middle linebacker in there, but they came from Christian Fulton. They came from Kenny Vaccaro. That's where the blitzes, that's where the sacks came from. They've got to be able to develop a pass rush where guys can get to the quarterback. And this is a problem that persists now. And it's going to be a problem that is going to be difficult to overcome against the best quarterbacks. Remember, as good as they were playing last year in the playoffs, you get to that AFC Championship game in Kansas City, and Patrick Mahomes had all day to throw because the Titans could not generate a pass rush. And when you give a guy as good as Patrick Mahomes all day to throw, you're going to be in trouble. And they were. And that's the thing that's got to change this year. I don't worry about Derrick Henry not busting the big run up to this point. I think that will happen. And I think this team will get better and better, and as teams get beat up as the season goes along, that's when the physicality of this team will take over. I don't worry about that. I do worry about a pass rush ever materializing, because that has been an Achilles heel for this team. And they went out to try and fix it with Jadeveon Clowney. They went out and tried to fix it with Vic Beasley. They hoped Harold Landry would take another step this year, and it just hasn't happened. They've got to figure that out. Discipline, I'll disagree a little bit on that one. Last night it was Buffalo that kept jumping offside. I think Ryan Tannehill did a great job with his hard count and helped the Titans on multiple occasions. For the most part, I think the Titans were pretty disciplined last night. When it comes to their discipline and penalties, and certainly when it comes to the turnover game, both protecting the ball on offense and taking the ball away on defense, the Titans have been really good in those categories for the most part under Mike Vrabel, but certainly here to start this season. So I feel good about where they are in those areas as well. Back to the phones. We go to Paul. Paul, how are you? Good evening.
I'm all right. How are you?
Good.
I just wanted to I watched the game last night, thought the Titans was going to, probably end up getting blown out after everything's happened. And I can't remember the receiver. I think it was the first touchdown pass by Tannehill. Mm. And I could watch that over and over and over again. That was the most beautiful pass I think I've ever seen over the defender's shoulder and just dropped into the receiver's breadbasket in the end zone. That I could watch that. That was beautiful. And I want to remind fans, Tannehill's eventually going to have a bad game. He's not perfect, but stick with him. This man he's a leader of that team, and the Titans couldn't have picked a better quarterback to lead this team right now. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. To think John Robinson traded, a 7th-round pick for Ryan Tannehill? I'll have to look that up to make sure it's exactly right. But the cost to bring in Ryan Tannehill as the backup last year was almost nothing for the Titans. Let's see. They swapped picks. The Titans sent a 7th and a 4th rounder to Miami. Miami also sent a 6th rounder along with Tannehill to Nashville. So in essence, it was Tannehill for a 4th round pick for the most part. I mean, think about that. You draft franchise quarterbacks in the top 10. Marcus Mariota was number 2 overall. Jake Locker was 8. Vince Young's the top pick, Everybody picks their franchise quarterbacks from the top of a draft. The Titans obviously went a different route when it came to Tannehill, and they brought him in to be a backup for a season, but the price for that was a 4th round pick. And ultimately in that season, he got him to the AFC Championship game, and he earned a long-term contract. And boy, does that look good right now. And by the way, the price of quarterbacks keeps going up. There were some people who said, 4 years, $118 million for Tannehill. That might be steep. Have you seen what his career numbers look like? How do you feel about that now? $29 million average per year for a quarterback when the going rate is about to be 40? Maybe it's not such a bad deal after all, especially when you watch what he's done here in Tennessee. And it doesn't appear to be just a one-year fluke or a flash in the pan for a guy who's trying to get a contract. He's been awesome this year. And the thing that I love about Tannehill, which gives me a lot of hope moving forward, and Paul, the caller, just said it, that Titans fans don't get down on him if he has a bad game. And look, inevitably, everybody has a bad game at some point. Josh Allen had a bad game last night for Buffalo after being great, looking like an MVP candidate to start the year. So yes, it will happen. He's going to throw a couple picks in a game or whatever. But I don't think that's going to happen a lot. And here's why. Because as good as he's been, he's not the focal point of the offense. Everybody starts when looking at the Titans. The defensive game plan begins with stopping Derrick Henry, with trying to contain him and make sure they don't just get run over. And when teams continue to put 8 and 9 in the box to try to do that, well, good luck defending A.J. Brown and Jonnu Smith and Corey Davis and Adam Humphries at the same time. Or Khalif Raymond over the top. It's just hard. And Arthur Smith, offensive coordinator, deserves a ton of credit for what the Titans have been able to do. He has been really, really good at installing this offense over the last year and a half since he's been the coordinator, but also the plays he calls in when he calls them. He's not asking Tannehill to do anything incredible. He's just asking him to do what the play says to do. The focus is on Henry. And when the defenses overcommit to that, the offense takes what the defense gives them. And through 14 games in the regular season and 3 games in the playoffs, Ryan Tannehill has been the perfect guy for that system. He looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And most importantly, he looks like he's in the perfect spot. And the Titans are winning because of it. All right, we'll take a break. We will come back. Phone lines are still open. 737-7767. The number also gets some highlights and more when we come back. This is Titans Talk on News Channel 5+.